Hello everybody, my name is Francesco Ciocci and today for the language tasting subject I'm going to briefly talk about the principles of language assessment. First of all, what is an assessment? If we refer to the educational system, assessment refers to the vast varieties of methods that teachers can use to evaluate, measure and document the learning process or the skills acquisition from the student. It is one of the main components of the teaching, and it is especially useful to gather valuable information about every aspect of the student. To create a good test, it is extremely important to consider the five principles of language assessment in a formal or even in an informal way. Those principles are practicality, reliability, validity, authenticity, and washbacks. Thanks to five principles of for teaching, we can know if is a test effective or not. Let's go with the number one, practicality. Practicality refers to a test which is easy to design, to administer, and to score. It is basically the relation between the available resources for the real test and the resources which are required in the design development. It is important to mention that an assessment is practical when the resources needed to apply the assessment are not more than those that are available. Practicality has a scoring and evaluation procedures so that it is specific and time efficient. Um, the cost of it must be not expensive. About the time, the test should stay within the time constraints. The administration, the test is not too complicated, though not even too simple. Scoring and evaluation, so the students must be provided with rubrics and keywords, key answer to. Validity. Validity is the extent to which an evaluation measures what it claims to measure. So in other words, a teacher should test what he or she has taught. Of course, it's not the only example I can provide with. For example, for instance, if a reading test is applied with a specific topic, the entire process of evaluation should take into consideration the reading ability and not the previous knowledge of the students. There are different types of validity. For example, the content validity, criterion validity, construct, consequential, and phase validity. Reliability. Reliability it is strictly connected to the consistency of scores achieved. In other words, a reliable test it is expected to provide the same result if the same test is given to the same student in different occasion, different time. For example, reliability deals with the result of the test. There are four kinds of reliability, which are students-related reliability, rather reliability, test administration reliability, and test reliability. Each of those has its own characteristic. For example, the first one, um, it focuses on a temporary illness which affect the score obtained by the student, which comes up to not be the real great real score. Rather, reliability, it deals with the evaluation process, focusing on factors that can affect the reliability. While the test administration, its condition and the situation where the test is administered are the main concerns of this type, of course. The test reliability, it refers to the test which should fit into time constraints, as I said before. And so let's go now with authenticity. Authenticity is related to real words. In fact, it is said that is the degree of correspondence of a characteristic of a given language test task to the feature of a target language task. It is important to mention that a test must be constructed by the teacher, of course, and must be contextualized and applied in a real context or daily life. In order to present authenticity, there are a few considerations that we have to take into account. For example, the language must be in the test must be natural. The items are not isolated, but they must be contextualized. The topics must be meaningful, and the real-world tasks are presented through the real task. Washback. Washback refers to the effect of tasting on teaching and learning. In other words, it refers to the real influence of how and what teachers assess on the way they teach and students learn. There are two different effects, a positive and a negative. The positive washback refers to the engagement of the students during the task, during the test, in a positive way because the activity are based in accordance with the students' belief. And so this bring a very positive effect on the students, which will result with probably good result. In the other side, we have the negative effect. So in this negative washback, there is not accordance between the students' belief and the test, and so this will lead to negative influence and negative result, probably. In conclusion, I would like to mention that the test, to construct a proper test and a good one, we need to take in consideration the five principles: practicality, validity, reliability, authenticity, and positive, of course, washback. Thanks to this principle, highlighting the guidelines to create and evaluate the test can be much easier for the teachers. Lastly, it is important that the teacher apply this principle in evaluating tests. Having said that, I would like to thank you all and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Bye bye.